Yeah, you're good. Hey everyone, how are you doing? Thank you for staying with us. You could have gone to unison, but thank you for honoring Hmong people here. Hey everyone, my name is Mei Yang, and I'm so excited to facilitate this conversation with these Hmong filmmakers. Let's just go down the line. If you could say your name and which projects you worked on, and I'm gonna have a conversation with them. And then you are also going to get a chance to maybe ask them a couple of questions. So let's start over there.
Hello, my name is Yang, and I am one of the producers of Bitterroots, and I was also the production designer of Bitterroot as well.
Hi everyone again, my name is Kazua. I am one of the producers for Bitterroot, and also I was the first AD, assistant director for the film.
Hi, my name is Joua Lee Grande, and I am the producer, director, and participant in Spirited.
Hi everyone, good evening. My name is Dan Yang. I am the director and producer of the first film, which is The Rising Cost of Hmong Funerals.
Hi, I'm Nakita, and I am the one who created I think it was the second one, about my mother.
Hi, my name is Peter Yang. I'd like to introduce myself as May's husband. But I'm also the co-writer, co-creator of Hmongization.
Cool. Well, first of all, I just want to say this is actually a very big deal that we're on stage. This year we're celebrating 50 years of Hmong people in the United States. And it's pretty freaking amazing that we're on a stage with like 7 Hmong filmmakers making content about Hmong folks, right? That's a very big deal. Okay, I'll ask a very basic question, but I think it's important. I'd love to hear, what inspired you to create your project or to work on the project? You got the mic, Nakita, so people are like,
Yeah. I mean, first, I just want to say it's really such an honor to be on panel with people that I literally love watching your films, and I've never seen myself as a filmmaker because I think for me, a lot of it is bringing my writing to life. When I love writing, and when I write it, I think I start to envision it, and I just really want to show people what I'm seeing when I'm writing, and so that's what inspires me, is just like the things that I want to say that's on my heart.
I'll say a few things. I think this is something May and I have talked about for a very long time. And when we grew up, we were always huge film buffs. We just loved watching movies and everything. And so, and we've been writers in published places and everything. So this was just an opportunity for us to put it all together and do something that we just always have loved it with.
Yeah, I would say what really inspired me was just, it started off as like a simple question of why are Hmong funerals so expensive and how is that negatively impacting my community? And as I did more research and found out more information, that's kind of how the idea started, and it was just like a snowball effect. It just kept growing and growing and growing, and so that's the catalyst of it.
For mine, I was pretty fresh out of college. I studied filmmaking, and I had thought about what potential films could I do, and shamanism was just one of those thoughts that came to mind and then went away. And then months later, I was told I would become a shaman, and I was like, well, I guess this is the film. And so I started documenting my project, and there was a period there where I abandoned the project for 4 years, and then I returned to it many years later.
Yeah, so I went to school for film, and that's where I met the writer-director of Bitterroots. Her name is Vera Brunner Song. And then I had moved here to Minnesota because I actually was born and raised in Montana. And then Vera had then moved to Ohio. And when I was here, I just got a phone call from Vera out of the blue, and she was like, hey, while I was living in Montana, I had inspiration to write a piece about the Hmong people who live there. It's a fictional piece, and would you like to just read over it? This was in 2015, 2016, and at the time I moved here not knowing what I wanted to do, and I was like, yeah, heck yeah, I want to work in film, right? And so then we just kind of carried on that. I looked at the first draft, and the first draft was, Vera, she's not Hmong, right? So she left a lot of blank spaces for me to go in and just then put in the correct stuff for like the Hmong aspect, and then that's where Melissa came in.
Yeah. So I came into Bitterroot, so basically I did a lot of like stage managing before, and I'm like definitely a visual artist, and so it was pretty easy to translate these skills into like production managing, to from stage managing to like producing. And being part of the pit editing, like I recognized, I was like trying to identify why. Okay, first of all, being critical. Why aren't we making good films? So what are we lacking? And I realized like it was good producers. And so I decided to stop being part of the committee and to actually start working on films. And so when I decided to do that, there's all these things that was aligning. And I worked on a pilot TV show that I met the DP, Keaton Kim, who is DP for Bitterroot. And Ying was a part of that, and they were talking about the same person, which was Vera, and I also had the opportunity to like then go to Montana and visit there because I have my own vegetable, the Westerns, America, but like I was like, okay, the glaciers and everything, and it just so happened that Vera and Keaton were there, that I met them, and they talked to me about the project without me reading the script yet, and I was like, you're not Hmong, you're writing a Hmong narrative, I'm gonna call you out, let's talk, let me be critical, because that's the biggest question, is like why you're writing a Hmong narrative, if you're not, even from the community, and you're writing in also a male perspective as the lead. And so there's all these things where I'm like, okay, I need to stop being aggressive of who has the right to tell Hmong stories, because I do believe there are specific stories that Hmong people need to tell, but it's kind of like the question of if I ever want to write outside of my community, then the question is how. And so then I became part of that process of figuring how to work with Vera, but how to build this team, how to make sure that we are authentic to the Hmong Missoula community. And I recognize that I'm also not born in Montana, I'm born here in the Twin Cities, so I am also a stranger to that lived experience. So then my job is not to dictate what is Hmong and what we see Hmong, but mine is to actually advocate and make sure, those hard questions are asked to Vera and also to myself.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to add a little bit more. You gave me a mic, you put me on a stage, so I just have to keep talking. But
I love to empower Hmong men. Yeah.
thank you. Now we're going to farm a day too, right? So I just think that film has such a way of impact on people, and this is no disrespect to the documentary stuff, because it's beautiful, and honestly your Mother's Day thing had me tearing up a little bit, but just being able to escape the real world.
Dan, when your video was going on, he was like, that's a pretty cheap funeral. But you're like medium, average. Yeah.
But I was just saying, being able to do something like that where we can create something where people could just even be entertained for a little while and just get away from them. It's just such a magical thing to be able to do,
And it's magical to actually see Hmong people, right?
It's something we wanted for sure.
Yeah, I know this is, side. We made a short video that will be aired at my comedy show on Saturday, right? It's called Yeah 10K Life Hacks, by the way. And we had hired my little nieces and nephews to be in it, and so I showed the video to them, and this nephew, who's like 5, was having so much fun. He was like, oh my gosh, that's Auntie Lisa, I see her butt. Oh, why Yaya in there? Like, he was just so excited, and that told me, that's a small moment, but it makes me think about what it feels like for us to see ourselves reflected, right? I want to give a shout out to Ying and Melissa. We say Ying, but you're really like Ying. You are not opium. You're a winner. But I just want to give a shout out to Ying and Melissa for curating this evening, because you could have chosen anybody. You chose this amazing group of people. There's a narrative, like there's a movie, there's some documentary work, there's like some shorts, some episodic comedy. So it's like really like a good cross section, right? I'm curious, like I'd love to hear from some folks about like your journey to making your projects.
Melissa's forcing me to go first. So my project, I shared a little bit that I started it when I was very young, a baby filmmaker, didn't really know what I was doing. I was just capturing stuff. And I think that there are many people who actually did see a version of it back then. I think I might have screened it twice, in 2013 and 2014, or I don't remember the years, but and it was still a work in progress. And also, of course, this is a feature, so what you saw was just a sample. And I did like essentially abandon it at some point, and largely because I was starting to witness spiritual threats being used against women, and I was like, oh, shamanism is sexist, like I want nothing to do with this. So I just like dropped it and like, I want nothing to do with this. And many years later, I was older, more thoughtful, and I was like, I feel like there's more I need to learn and unlearn. And I feel like there's more information there that is being kept from me. And so I decided then to return to the project. It was different. Obviously, I'd gotten married. People are like, oh, you're not Hmong anymore, you know, like whatever things. But I'm like, and also a large part of why I came back was because my mom, I wasn't a spiritual person. I was very much agnostic, like who knows what exists until we have proof, I don't know. But in 2018, I started having health stuff that was weird again pop up, and my mom insisted on like a shaman ritual, a healing ritual, because they determined it was spiritual, and this shaman was not connected to the two shamans from years prior, knew nothing about like my calling, and but in the middle of her ritual, she suddenly stopped and she turned to my parents and she's like, hey, I see spirit guides. Do you guys know that your daughter's been chosen? And they kind of chuckled, said, oh yeah, but I think it was confusing to them because they're like, but the spirit should have left her alone because she married outside the race or whatever. So I think at that point I'm like, oh, okay, so this is still happening, and that's when I resumed, and I could then come at it from a very different perspective, not as someone who was older and someone who had a little bit more experience in filmmaking, and the more that I followed other shamans and learned, I realized that there was a lot that was being kept from us younger generation and women in particular, and finding, and also like when I was told I would become a shaman, that was like the very beginning of this new wave. So the belief is about every 100 or so years, there's a brand new wave of Hmong shamans who rise, and we're in the middle of that. And so started about 10 years ago, and obviously you all know that we're having a ton of young shamans rise. So yeah, sorry, I'm just rambling.
Good. Anyone else want to talk about their journey?
Sure. Well, first off, I'd just like to thank HND and Ying and Melissa for having us. I will say that I've been to 5 HNDs in my life. I'm not that old, but I can remember that the first time I went to HND, artists were very far in view, and so I'm so happy that now that when I've come to HND again every single year, it's grown and grown, and I'm glad to say that artists are professionals as well. I know HND has historically been an event for like professionals, working professionals, but I'm so glad that artists are also recognized as working professionals. So thank you, HND. Thanks to Ying and Melissa for bringing us here. I will say that my video really got started because I started off as a narrative filmmaker. I made narrative films, feature films, and short form films, but I just felt like my films weren't making a big of as impacted by it as I wanted it to. I didn't feel that the content that I was putting out there was making a difference in my community. And so I switched over to doing more documentary work, and this is actually one of my first documentary works, and it started out because my grandfather died, and when he had died, my parents essentially went into, almost like generational debt. And I was wondering, like, why was it so expensive? Why are funerals so expensive, and why does it create such a burden on the ones that are left? And so I met Patan Bahua and Nakita Vang, which are the two people I interviewed, and they had really, really great insight. And it just turned out that they had conducted an official study in 2020. And so that was really the catalyst for and the start of the project. So.
Okay, next. I think for me, because my videos are more shorts, I think my time frame probably among all of the filmmakers here are probably shorter. So for me, the idea came from you saw in the film where my mom was at a concert. That was actually at Benye's concert, and she was singing a song about mothers. And that's the first time that epiphany came to me. And like Joe kind of mentioned earlier, it becomes like a bad thought until one day it like lights a fire in you, and you're like, oh, I need to make a video on this. And it just happened to be right before Mother's Day. The concert happened in December, and then it's May again, where like that thought comes back to me, and it's like this surge that's like a really strong emotion. And just like looking at my mom and her life and the daily conversations we had, that's when I'm like, I pick up my camera, I script, I write what I want to say, and then I begin to envision how I want it to unfold. And then I just bribe my siblings and my mom and help me film the videos. So it can take maybe usually the filming happens in a day, and then it'll just be a week of me editing and putting it all together. So it's a lot shorter than probably what they have to go through.
So speaking just to Hmong organization, May and I both have a long history with Hmong nonprofits. We've been part of the attendees that are working, and there are a lot of connection to it for a long time now. And this idea came to us, 10, 15 years ago?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We originally wrote a script, first episode.
We wrote a pilot in 2013, and we finally shot it in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
But when we wrote it in 2013, we didn't know any Hmong filmmakers because we're writers.
Yeah.
And then by 2017, Melissa's like, I've got a film crew for you.
And then we got film crew, we set out a call for actors, and like a few weeks later, we had a pilot.
Dude, in 1 hour, we had over 100 shares on Facebook, and all of our audition slots were filled. And then we casted people. There were people who auditioned, there were no parts for them, but I'm like, I like this person, let's write a part. They need to be in our show, right?
And then we shot the pilot, we had it all set up, but we kind of had it up front out in a bit, but didn't really go anywhere. And then once again, for a few years, nothing really happened with it. And then a couple years ago, we got back together. We're like, we found some money for it. Let's shoot 3 episodes or 3 3-part episodes.
It's 9 mini episodes, or else 3 30-minute episodes, really. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
And we shot it during COVID.
We shot it during COVID. So if you see some behind the scenes shots, a lot of us, people who are not actors, had like face masks on because it was COVID. And man, you had to get tested before you showed up.
Like I say, it was an amazing process. Everyone tells us it was a great set, and we had a great time doing it.
Yeah, and what I think is always really amazing about the Hmong organization set was that I felt very humbled that usually there's a director and then people come and they come work for you. Almost everybody who worked on the set is a writer director themselves. So it was amazing that these people they're usually their own bosses, were like, we're gonna come help make this happen. And Melissa was a huge part of that as a producer, and Ying was the set designer, so all the stuff you saw in Hmong organization, that building none of that existed. Yang actually made it happen.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to answer before I pivot to audience?
I mean, they kind of know our story already.
Okay.
We talked a lot.
I know it's getting late, but anybody have any questions that you really want to ask the panel here before I ask the final question? Yeah.
Has your work ever led to a memorable interaction?
Oh, here's a mic right there.
Hello, hi. Has your work ever led to a memorable interaction with someone? If so, what happened? And you can't use your mouth, that's cheating, so.
Yeah, so Melissa and I, we've been on a really crazy journey with Bitterroots. We premiered last year at Tribeca Film Festival, which to me is a big deal. But I think my interaction actually happened when we went to San Diego, and I finally got to meet Wong Fu Production. And Melissa and I, we just had such a great conversation with Wesley, yeah. And it was at a rooftop party, and we were just talking to him about what it means to be a filmmaker, but how to make things accessible. And I think that to me was my childhood dream. I love Wong Fu. I think Wong Fu was also the idea of that's why I wanted to be a filmmaker, because I finally got to see people that looked like me, and they created content, and I think that was the wildest thing. And he was there talking to us for an hour, and I remember the other Wong Fu crew was hey, let's go get drinks, and he stood there and talked to us, and it was unreal. But and he also said goodbye afterwards. We were in a different part of the party. It was very young crowd. I look young, but I'm old. But he came back and he said bye. I think that was the most meaningful thing as a filmmaker to me.
I think for me, I can share something about Bitterroot. I think I agree with you, but there's something I know you'll agree with me too with this, is that so before we went to Tribeca, before we went to New York to do the world premiere, we promised the Mozilla community that they will be the first people to watch the completed, finished film. So that we quickly flew to Montana Sunday before we were airing on Wednesday or Thursday in New York, because we knew with our production team, so it's Keejan, Julia, Karen, and also Vera, the writer-director, knew that the Hmong Missoula needed to watch it first. And I will admit I was really nervous, because if they don't approve, we're gonna fuck, oh sorry, New York. Sorry. Because if they don't feel good and right about the film, then we fail. So yeah, sorry for strong language. But whatever, it's a Friday night, I think, right? Anyway, but the thing is that it was so beautiful, so there's two things that happened. One was that, again, we only showed a little clip, but in the film we have two twins playing one character. And they were so excited to see themselves on stage, because scream, god damn it, and god, I didn't even drink anything yet. The thing about it is that they were so excited to see themselves, and the reality is that the Vera was the one who edited, and Vera only edited one of the girls for the whole thing, because she couldn't tell the twins apart. And so the girl came up to me and she was like, oh, it's okay. I know my sister's a pretty one. I'm like, no, that's not the point. I'm like, you know what it is though? I'm gonna tell you this. When we do a director's cut, you will be the one in it. And she's like, no, it's okay. She was just glad to get this experience. And I was like, oh my God, these kids are so nice. Montana, mama. Damn, so beautiful people. And then the second one was the most beautiful thing to hear. And again, it was not because we wanted this to be for them to just approve it, but it's to hear the fact that a kid was like, that's my grandpa's garden. Oh my gosh, it looks so pretty on the screen. And I think I'm like, yeah, we did it. We did it right. It's not completely perfect and it's okay. But when you hear a kid, just recognize like that is his grandpa's farm, and that is something that is related to their lived experience. I'm like, what more can we ask besides trying to create more of that? And also just to give more audience to see it, more people to see it. So yeah.
So I know we're kind of running out of time, so I'll just ask the last question. I'd love to hear from everybody. What's next for you? What can we expect? Who's ready to go? Should we just start here? Here, let's start here and just go down the line.
I can go. Sorry, unless you want to go.
Oh.
So I am finishing up my newest short documentary. It's about Hmong farmers here in the Twin Cities. It's part of a national series highlighting Southeast Asian Americans across the country. It's premiering at campus, so I'm going to be hanging out with these folks down in San Fran. And so I don't know when it's going to come out publicly, but I think the goal... Oh, true. I am screening it at the Walker Arts Center at an event that Melissa is curating as well. So if you want to see it, then that's the chance. May 22nd. I am also currently working on a documentary that I need to finish in a very short period of time, just about the Hmong community's impact on Minnesota over the last 50 years. I'm always working on Spirited. We are in post-production. We're almost there, but we're just fundraising still to get us there. And luckily, I was just announced today I was selected to be part of a fellowship that I think is going to be really amazing for the
What's next for me? There's always something next, as creatives know, but the two most immediate projects I'm working on now is I'm working on a documentary about murder-suicides within the Hmong community. That's a topic that is really close to me and a topic that I think deserves to be told. And then I'm also finishing up a narrative short that's based on the shooting of Fong Lee that happened in 2006. So two really heavy topic films, but I think those are stories that deserve to be told. So those are the next two projects that should be coming up here soon.
Cool, thank you.
What's next for me is I will be watching those. All of those. For me, I have two things that I've been wanting to work on, and I'm not 100% sure if they will make it out, but I hope that at least one of them can come out in May for our 50th anniversary. One, I've been wanting to start a series with my dad because he spends every single day talking to me about his life in Laos before and during and after the war. And he tells a lot of stories. My dad wasn't a soldier or anything, so his story, I think, needs to be remembered and highlighted because there's so many people who experienced the war the way that he did, and he highlights that everyone experienced the war so differently, and everyone's trauma from the war is so different. And I feel like our generation and the ones after us are so much removed from the war that I hope we can revisit those stories. And as much as it's important to highlight from the veterans, but also to remember how our citizens experienced the war.
So I have been working on a script for a stage play about Hmong men and mental health issues, and but unfortunately I've been kind of stuck on it and mentally stuck and everything. But hopefully, being here and seeing all these great, things will inspire me to get back on that and work on it and get it out of there as soon as I can.
Yeah, I don't think there's a Hmong man play yet. Write it.
If y'all don't know me, my wife is kind of a play.
I write a lot about Hmong women's stories,
Yeah,
and so
so-
people are always like, what about the Hmong men? I'm like, do you really want me to write about Hmong men? I don't think you do.
You really shouldn't.
I should not.
It should be a Hmong man that does it.
Yeah,
And
please.
also-
I empower y'all. Write it.
And also, honestly, a stage play, we don't have a lot of Hmong men leads because of that. So hopefully I can get that to come to fruition.
I have a few things I want to share because I want you to be excited because I'm excited. Bitterroot is still going to be screening, so we have a couple screens. If you see those flyers or the presentation up there, QR codes. But personally, I am working on the Dainjo stories. It's going to be an audio drama podcast based on true events of people being in Dainjo. So it's called the Green Lady Service, and it's going to be hilarious and just kind of, capturing those traumatizing things, because I have two stories of the same guy marrying two different wives, and I was the Green Lady for that. So that, again, speaks for that. He was divorced, and then he married again, and then I was the Green Lady for the second wedding. So there's that. And then, so that's going to be an audio podcast drama. The other one is I'm actually hoping to hold Joua into producing my hmong dubbers, because I really want to highlight and capture hmong dubbed films that really, for me, encapsulate why I kept my language. I can't read and write Hmong, don't judge me. Okay, you can. Because I chose to study Korean versus Hmong.
Korean and Dutch.
Yeah, and no, Danish.
Oh, Danish. Sorry, my bad.
But the thing is that I'm able to speak and articulate and understand and communicate with the elders, because Hmong dub films has really kept it. And I really want to respect and honor Topa Fu, because I still think it's one of the best dub Hmong films. Trust me, I can write a paper on that. And then lastly, it's I'm also working, besides like producing 6 other short films, I'm also personally writing a feature film that I want to start filming in 2028. So please follow me, keep up with me, be excited, because we need more film stories.
Yeah, I think it's just been Bitterroots. Besides going back to school on Monday and teaching these kids for the next 32 days. You got 32 days left to school. Bitterroot is going to be screening again here in the Twin Cities on the 16th and 17th at the Walker Art Center. And then Melissa and I are staying true to our mission, which is if we said that if Bitterroot ever made it to Tribeca or even something big, we wanted to still provide platforms for filmmakers, and so Melissa and I are also working with the Walker to create a filmmakers showcase as well. So very fortunate to be given these opportunities as filmmakers and with the momentum of Bitterroots. And then personally, I'm working on my short film Bites through APIA and Zona Collective, and Melissa is one of the producers. And I get to film in August, and it's like a modern twist on the Hmong superstition of Tsamoruka, right? So I'm hanging around with that modern twist. Yeah.
Amazing. Can we give it up for Peter, Nakita, Dan, Joua, Melissa, yay! Yes. So, Yang, I know we're supposed to do comedy, but I think people probably need a bathroom and alcohol break. Can we do a 10-minute break? Yeah. I don't think anybody actually drank alcohol except for me. So here's what's going to happen. First of all, again, thank you, folks, for sharing your films and for staying for this Q&A. I want to let you know the night is not over. We're going to do a 10-minute break, and then we're going to come back. And my comedy group, Funny Asian Women Collective, or FOC, we're gonna come back and perform, and if you're like, we're gonna do some stand-up comedy, you better be funny or I'll be sad. And then if that's not enough, we're gonna show a sketch video that FOC made, inspired by Singles Inferno. So please come back. It's one of my favorite things that we made. On top of that, after FOC performs, we're not going to take up that much space. We're going to do an open mic. If you have not signed up, please sign up to do an open mic. We don't even care what you do, right? Sing, do performance, do spoken word poetry. I don't know what you do. Please sign up. And then on top of that, we also have raffles. We have tickets. So Melissa and Yang have mentioned Bitterroot is going to be screened at the Walker Art Center. We got free tickets to see Bitterroot. We have some t-shirts. I have a game. You probably are so tired of hearing about it. Clap back. We're giving away a game. We're giving away some totes. I'm giving away a bag of white rabbit candy. Yeah. We also have t-shirts to give away, and we have tickets to the Fox Super Show on Saturday to give away. And we're gonna give away something every 10 minutes. So put your name in a raffle. I'll see you all at 9:30. Please go go get some alcohol because that'll make you feel better and us feel better. Thank you.